At SmartPack, we believe in healthy horses and happy riders. That's why we have everything you need, from our convenient SmartPack's feeding system to thoughtfully designed supplements that are guaranteed to work, new smart therapy products for your horse, and a wide variety of tack and apparel. We've just launched our new supplement, Smart Perform Ultra. This new supplement from SmartPack takes a science-first approach by offering a blend of research-supported ingredients to address all three key areas of soundness, stomach health, and hind gut function. Try it now in SmartPacks to be eligible for our newly upped $15,000 in colic-care coverage. Our Team SmartPack rider, Matt Mills, just started his horse Gooder, also known as Guns and Dynamite, on it. Whatever you need, we've got you and your horse covered. To learn more, check us out at smartpack.com and have a great ride.
Hey, Matt Mills here for an episode of Winning Insights for the Ride Podcast. And today I just want to talk about showing in particular with your horse. Now I do reining. It's a high level competition. I'm competing at a high level, going out showing at big events. What I want to talk about is from the horse's perspective. I don't think the horse knows the difference whether I'm showing at the Run for a Million or whether I'm showing at a weekend event in a novice horse class. That horse really doesn't know the difference. That horse is just, they're doing what we ask them to do, and it's what we make of it. And I think if we can learn to control your mindset, be aware of what's going on when you go to compete, I think it will really help to boost your confidence and also get your horse to relax and just work the same as they do at home. Now, I personally try to set up a lot of scenarios at home similar to showing. Now, let's just say your horse is already, they're already trained. They already understand how to spin, how to stop, change leads. You've got to have all of that. What I think is people need to spend more time on is preparing for that pattern and putting themselves on the spot. So when they get to an actual event, when you get to an actual competition, you feel like you've been there before. There's nothing like being prepared for a test. We all been through school, and if you're not prepared, that's when you start getting nervous and anxious. In particular, I hear a lot about, well, my horse is different at a show versus not. This is all learned stuff from the horse. Now, yeah, there's a handful of them out there that maybe get a little bit worried about, maybe it's banners, maybe it's a crowd, stuff like that. But that to me is just a horse that hasn't been put in that situation enough. More times than not, what I see is, and I'll just kind of give you an example. I'll see a rider warm a horse up. That rider is a little nervous. They're trying a lot harder. They're asking for more things. You're looking around. You're seeing your competitors are running and stopping. They're spinning. They're doing all these things, which through practice that's not really what your horse needs, but you get caught up in this, I see that guy doing it, so I'm going to do it. You see that rider's breaking out in a sweat. Well, your horse has no clue what's coming, and so you're starting to ride different already. And so the horse picks up on that energy. And then when you walk in the arena and you holding your breath, you get out to the middle and you're looking around and there's one judge in front of you, maybe there's five. And you've got to, you're feeling like, man, everybody's watching me, and you get paralyzed. And what happens is you get tense. That horse picks up on it. And now the horse is going, well, wait a minute, maybe I need to be worried also. Now, what happens over time, that horse starts to understand, because it's a creature of habit, that, man, when I walk out to the middle of the arena or when I run in and stop and back up, my rider gets tense and I'm starting, we've done this a gazillion times. But it seems like every time we go in the arena by ourselves, my rider gets tense and a little worried, and maybe I should be worried too. And then what happens, the rest of your pattern, everything's just a little bit off. You're a little tense, and you start reacting to things that could be just as simple as the fact is that you're riding a little different. Now, what happens at the end of those patterns, and I'm talking about like that horse that's maybe just a little uneasy in the middle. As soon as you get done with your pattern, you take a deep breath, it's done, for better or for worse, your horse walks out dead quiet. You go out to the practice arena after your trainer tells you all the things that you could have done better, things that were great, and you're going to go practice now. Let me go see if I can get that horse to stand still. And 9 times out of 10, they walk out there and they're great. And I think that's kind of a chase. That's kind of, the chasing your tail thing that I want you to try to get out of. And I've learned over experience that you can, in fact, change that. Now, let's say you go buy a horse that's already been through this and they have the habit of being nervous. It's going to take a little time to backtrack to get to where you want to go. But I want you going in that arena and trying to forget about those judges. Think about what it is that your horse does well, what you and your horse do well, what things need to get worked on, and understand they're not going to magically disappear just because you walk in the arena and you've paid your entry fee and you want to go show and you want to win. None of those things are going to change. I think if you are very realistic in your preparation and you understand this is what I can do, this is where I've been good at, my left circles are good, my right circle's not quite as, and you go out and you try to do those things exactly the way you've practiced, you're going to see your horse is going to start to relax and be more confident. One other thing that I want you to think about, all those judges, and I've judged events, I've talked to many of these judges. Most of these judges are all people. They're not sitting there looking to try to get you. Most of these judges have all ridden, they've all competed before, and they understand where you're at. And I think if you realize that, you can take a deep breath and you go, okay, it's going to be all right. Because, I'm sure, trainers have said, there's always another show, and there really is. And I think if you can really, take a deep breath out there in that arena when you're competing and understand, get yourself in that mindset of you're competing with yourself. I carry around I've got a necklace, a little pendant that I wear that has my all-time high score. It's a 231.5 with a horse named Easy Wiz years ago. Loved that horse. He was a great show horse. And I carry that around because that was my all-time high score with 5 judges. And when I'm riding, I always, or competing, I always kind of have in the back of my mind, I'd love to beat that personal goal. And so when I'm showing, I kind of have that mindset. Now, I have to have a horse that's capable of doing that. I can't have a horse that's, a 70 caliber horse and think I'm going to get a 232. That's not the case. But where I'm going with that is that's something that I think about on a regular basis. And that really kind of, it's my motivation. I'm not so much controlled by what I'm scored on any particular day, because that changes. Judges have opinions. You go out there and you have, let's say you show at a weekend event in a rookie class and you score a 70, and then you go have that same run at an event next week and they scored a 68.5, or say they scored a 71.5. You've got to really, have yourself manage your expectations, I guess, and know when I walk out of that arena, did we get done what we practiced? That's what I'm after. I just had an event I went to where I had 3 Derby horses that scored high, and I was really, really pleased with 1 out of those 3 runs, and that was a 226.5, 228, and 229.5. And you go, well, those are all fantastic scores, and they are. But 2 of the horses, the first 2 that I showed, I didn't get done a couple things on the rundown that I felt we could have done a lot better. And I felt like it was me. Sometimes it might be the horse, but I felt like it was me. I felt like it was a couple little things that I'd been working on that I had a little lapse in concentration and focus, and it didn't quite go the way I wanted. So when I walked out, I was pleased hearing the score. I do this for a living, and so I there's certain results that I expect of myself, and the owners do too. But I'm walking out going, man, I need to be a little bit better. And so my 3rd horse, I came back, and I had one little small thing, an overspin that that can happen, but overall, the issues that I was having on the first 2, I felt like I didn't have that on the last. It was great. and it wouldn't matter what score was called out. I was pleased with how my horse and I worked together. And if you can get really obsessed with that, those scores will come. And to that point, I scored higher. I scored a 229.5 on that. But I left that run, I'm thinking about something different, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not concerned about the judges. I used to go, and I still do, I go and look for training purposes. I go and look at the score sheets and see how I can get better. But no longer am I looking going, all right, well, why did they only zero that maneuver? I felt like it was really good. If I knew it was good, I felt like it was good, I'm satisfied with that. Now, if you want to go tweak later on some things to try to step your score up, that's fantastic. But my point is, where I want you to be thinking is, the judges should not control whether you felt like you did good or not. I want you to get obsessed with, did I do the things that I've been doing in practice? Were they good? Was my horse relaxed? And I think if you go in there and you get caught up with that, you're not going to be as concerned about, or worried, I guess I should say, about what score you got, being tense. You kind of get your mind on a different trail where you're just trying to improve with your horse. And that's where it should always be. And, it's something that takes a lot of practice, and it's ongoing, and you have to really be self-aware of where that's at, and you're going to start to notice your horse is going to start to relax. And back to that horse show I just came back from, one of those horses that I did well on, it's an older horse, which typically your horses that you say, oh, they only have so many runs in them, and as they get older, the runs aren't going to be quite as good. Well, this is an older horse that's shown a lot, and I just changed my mindset. Now also, I prepared, I did all those things, I put my time in, but when I went out there, I just really focused on, no matter what, I'm going to make sure that I get right in this spot. And this was on a rundown in particular. When I turn the corner, I want to make sure that this horse is right in this position, no matter what. And I picked my hand up a little, and I actually made that horse get in that position. And normally I'd get caught up, I got to be perfect, I can't move my hand. And I thought, what, I really don't care about the judges today. I just want to get this one thing done I've been working on. And if I score well, great. If not, I'm going to be satisfied with that. And what happens more times than not, you go and look at your video after and you go, I thought that was, at the moment you thought it was terrible, doesn't look good. And you watch and you go, man, that really didn't look that bad. And more times than not, that's the case. But where I'm going with this, though, is by getting keyed in on some little detail that you worked on in preparation, you get off of that holding your breath and being worried that, that judge is sitting there staring at me. I only have so much time. You got to get out of that. Get focused on your horse, on your cues with your horse, and really try to get to where you go out and you compete the same way you practice. And again, like I said, it's a skill that takes time. But if you're realistic about it and you come out and you go, okay, you'll start to go, wait a minute. I remember now, before I started the spin, this happened. And you'll start to be more aware of things that are happening instead of coming out. I've had riders where you go, hey, so what did you think of your lead departure? And they you can see they've got that look of, that dazed look in their eyes, because they don't remember, because they held their breath, because they were so nervous, anxious about those judges out there that they couldn't do it. And so I think with practice, going in, thinking about, realistically, what have I consistently been getting done with my horse, and then just going trying to execute that way, you will start to relax and start to be more confident. And in return, you're going to see that horse that was nervous in the middle of the arena is no longer going to be nervous. That horse is going to start to stand still and be ready to do, if it's a 0 spin, they'll give you a 0 spin. If it's a plus half, if it's a plus 1, whatever it is, you'll start to get those things happening in the show ring. And no longer will it be, will you be the person that says, well, my horse knows the difference. No, your horse doesn't know the difference. The horse knows the difference in you. So that's going to take time, but I really want you to go to that next competition and try to keep that mindset of Let's be the best horse and rider team that we can. Let's do what we've been doing, and the scores will come. And if they're not where you want, if the scores are not right where you want, you go back, look at that video, and start really being honest with yourself and going, okay, did I do things the way that I've been, that I'm supposed to be doing? And if not, you start trying to prepare yourself for that next competition. Set up scenarios where you're putting yourself on the spot. And if you start doing that consistently, you'll start to notice that things will slow down, whether it's reining, ranch riding, equitation, English, it doesn't matter, or just straight sports in general. You'll start to notice things slow down, things start to get easier, and you'll start having a lot more fun. Myself, I think it's so, these little personal challenges I have with myself. I go out, I've been working on this one spot with this horse, and if you get it done, you'll be that person that's smiling. You gotta, you scored let's say a 69.5, but that left lead stop's been giving you trouble and you nailed it. You're going to walk out knowing, going, all right, well, I'm making progress. And, likewise, if, sometimes it's going to bounce the other way, and that judge is going to maybe score it higher, but hey, you know what, I've got some things to work on. You get you get to where you're playing your own game, and the judges no longer control whether you felt that you did well or not. So I hope that helps you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Ride Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and please be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow Horse and Rider Magazine on social media and find us at horseandrider.com.
If you guys have any questions or comments, please be sure to hit us up at horseandrider@equinenetwork.com. We want to hear from you guys.
And if you like what you're listening to, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes.